Welcome back to the channel. With this video, we are starting a video series where I explain the C programs for beginners. So we're going to start with the basics, and with every program, we will increase the complexity. So now what we do here is we will write our very first program in C programming language. Generally, the first program that you write in any programming language is about writing some text on the screen, popularly the text "Hello World." And here we're going to do that using the C programming language. So here what I have done is I have opened up the VS Code, and then I have opened a folder called as beginners programs, and inside this folder I'm going to create all the programs. So in order to write a C program, we need to have a file which will contain the C source code. So we will create that. I'm going to click on this new file, and I will call this file as hello world and then .c. .c is the extension for the files which will contain the code written using the C programming language. Now after that, if I hit the enter key, this file will be opened. Now when we talk about writing programs in any programming language, in our program we have to do certain things again and again. For example, displaying some text on the screen, taking the input from the user, adding the string values, finding the length of the string, etc, etc. All the programming languages provide the features which will help us to do all these things that we do again and again very easily. So in C programming language also, these features are available, and they are provided in the form of standard library. So this standard library contains some functions which will provide these functionality. A function is nothing but a group of statements which are given a specific name depending on the type of work they do. For example, we have a function called as printf, which is used for printing the text in a formatted way. So in our program, if you want to use all these built-in functionality, then we have to include these standard library files. And here in this program, what I want to do is I want to display some text on the screen. For that, I will include a file called as stdio.h. So this is a standard library file which contains the functionality for displaying some text on the screen, taking the input from the user, etc, etc. Now here this include is called as a preprocessor directive. By using these preprocessor directives, we can give instructions to a program called as preprocessor to do certain things. So here what we are saying is include this file called as stdio.h to our program. Why we are including this? Because we want to use the functionality this file provides, which is for printing some text on the screen. Okay. Now the next thing that we do here is we will have the entry point of our program. In our program, there should be an entry point where the execution will start. And in C programming language, this entry point is a function called as main. And in order to create that function, first we have to write int and then the name, which is main, followed by a pair of parentheses and then followed by a pair of curly braces. Now here main is the name for a function. A function is nothing but a group of or a block of some statements. Now here this is the entry point. Now when we run this program, the execution will start from this main function. And before this main, we have something called as int, which means that this main function returns a value of type integer. And between these parentheses, if this main function takes any values in order to do something, then we can provide that. But in this case, it will not take any values. So kind of like the name for a group of statements, we can provide the values for this to work, and then it can return some value after performing some work. And after that, between these curly braces, we write these statements, and this curly braces will form a block. So here with this opening curly brace, we are saying this is the beginning of the block. And with this closing curly brace, we are saying this is the end of the block. So whatever the statements that we write between these curly braces will be a part of this block, and the name that we have given for this block is main. Okay. So now what we can do is we can use the functionality provided by this stdio.h, and we can display some text on the screen. And that functionality is called as printf. So this printf is a function. Just like the main that we have written here, this is also a function. It is a name for a group of statements which will perform the activity of displaying some text on the screen. Now here between these parentheses, we can write the value that we want to display on the screen. So here we will use double quotes and we will say hello world. So now here, if you look at this code, from this main function, the execution starts, then we are using this printf function and we are displaying this text on the screen. So what we are doing is we are calling the group of statements which will do the work of displaying something on the screen, and we are saying display this text on the screen. Now here this hello world is called as a string value, and in C programming language the string values are written between the double quotes. Now after that, the next thing that we do is we will return some value, and for that we will use return 0. Now why we have this return 0? That's because here while defining this main function we said it will return an integer value, and here in order to return a value we use this return keyword, and in this case we are returning a value of 0. 0 here means this one ran without any issue. If we have any other number here, then those numbers can indicate a certain type of error. So by looking at that return value, we can kind of say whether this program runs successfully or some issue has occurred or not. Now this main is a special function in C, which is the entry point of our program. Now here in this C programming language, every statement has to be terminated by using a semicolon. So here you can see after this printf, we will have a semicolon, and after this return 0, we will have a semicolon. Every statement has to be ended with a semicolon. So this is an instruction which tells the computer to do something. It has to be ended here with a semicolon, indicating that that's the end of that instruction. So that's why we will have the semicolon in here. So that's it. This is the program that we have written in here. Now let us see how we can run this. I'm going to go to the top right section in VS Code, and then I'm going to click on this run C++ file. Now here I'm going to select the GCC compiler, and it will build the program and it will run this, and we will get to see the output in this terminal. And here we can see hello world. Now what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to display your name on the screen. Instead of the hello world, I want you guys to display your name, your friend's name, your cousin's name, your father's name, mother's name, whatever that you want to display. I want you guys to do that. Experiment with this code, try to do different things so that you can learn more. So this is it guys for this particular video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later in the next one.